this. Okay. Okay. Yes, we have it now. Thanks. All right. Bye. Okay, Alan.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening,
I-
Johnny.
Yeah, I sent you like the organized topics.
Oh,
And
good.
it was one that I thought about at the bottom of that list
Okay.
that I don't know if I told you that particular one. It's concerning why is Brandon so concerned with the Ukraine border more than he's concerned with the American border. I don't know if you heard about that.
Well, of course, there is that thing right there. I mean, our borders are wide open, whereas he's concerned about another country who happens to actually be sovereign. So, yeah, you get what we get. We don't
Yeah.
throw a fit, and we deal with it.
And then before we get on to like, okay, you know that he said we're not going to send our officials there, but as I heard, they didn't for the Olympics in February. They didn't invite the high officials there, and it said, hey, you know, so he's saying what they. It's almost like they're saying like, I'm not going to play. I'm going to take my marbles with me. And it says, well, I didn't ask for you to bring your marbles in the first place. Oh.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to InnervisionFM.com
Yes.
this evening.
Yes.
We got a lot of topics tonight. Really fun show. Where do you want to start first?
Well, first, let them know that you can hit the thumbs up. Everybody, come on in, and hit the thumbs up as you're coming in. And we now have 33 subscribers. And we got that big hit of viewers from when I was sharing this thing about the guy says, hey, you know, all lives matter. The one who his son was killed by these three guys because they thought he was robbing houses or something to that effect. So I got a lot of like, you know, like I said, 8,000 people who really like that. So I got two more people out of that. So yeah, so if you want to see different type of stuff and you say, hey, let's talk about this, remember you can put that information in the comments and we'll get it and we'll put it out there. So and then also paypal.me/Innervision Denver is where you can go to wait a minute. For now, and I should have put this just do the Cash App $Innervision capital J. I'm gonna start putting that in our thing now that we're having a little problem with PayPal, but that's another story. Oh man! But
That's
anyway,
an interesting thing. That's a touchy subject. You know, as we do roll into the new era of technology, there's going to be a time where, ladies and gentlemen, they can shut off and turn on your bank account at will, do all kinds of crazy fun stuff, and all the legislation being set up right now. That's why getting involved at the local, state, and federal levels at whatever position and moving laterally into the correct positions so that you yourself can make a difference. Check this out. I ran across this truth the other day, wherein you basically, if you weren't here, if I weren't here, if your friend down the street weren't here, what impact would that make? Well, generally, somebody not being around does impact quite a few people. Hundreds of people are touched by just one person's life. And so that's why it's so very important to realize and understand that doesn't matter where you're at within life situation, there's nothing that can get you down enough to uh, to overcome and to basically, just press on through it, because everything is temporal, and we're not going to remember that being late to work in 5 years, or we're not going to remember that most tragic of circumstances in 5 years in the same way that we remember it today. We'll have the same poignancy and stuff, but time does have a way of making things more bearable, even if it can't quite heal all wounds like what people talk about. It's an interesting precept, but it's an interesting concept as well, and it's something worth being shared, because these are dark days, and boy, there is darkness upon the face of the earth, but there's also there's still salt, and while there
Yeah.
is still time, go ahead and get yourself saved. It's
Yeah.
easy as just accepting that, believing that Jesus Christ died for our sins, past, present, future, and that He's sitting at the right hand of the Father, and He's hanging out and ruling at this point.
Mhm.
We just confess that with our mouths because we believe it in our hearts for sure, and believing it in our hearts is a good start. But man, confessing that with our mouths is uh, the next step, because there'll come a time when we won't be able to work, and we won't be able to do, and we won't be able to have or make. And
Mm.
while today is called today, we may as well jump on that ball and get it rolling.
As you're talking, I just thought about something. Sometimes like things that happened last year are so clear in your mind. I remember around about the same time, maybe starting like around the 30th, maybe the 28th. I was coming down with the COVID and was feeling like very just sleepy. And I was just, and I was kind of finish up the book, and I had the deadline there saying, we really need you to finish this up by the 3rd.
I remember.
And I said, I just want to sleep. Hey, and so I would call up Ira and fall asleep, call up Ira. And I mean, that was so clear in my mind. Like, and this year I didn't have COVID, but I had a cold. I'm thinking like, is there some kind of stress that goes on after Thanksgiving? And I don't know. I don't know if it's say like before Christmas, but kind of some kind of stress that goes on, in my life. And I wonder if you could look at like things that maybe like life is like a test, and you might have went through something similar last year, and then you handled it this way, and then you had something similar happen this year, and then you have a choice of, do I handle it this way or that way?
That's absolutely right. It's about choices made. Maybe learning from one's mistakes for sure. But figuring what they are and repenting of, uh, well, sin, as it were, taking that sort of stuff out of the way, so that one is ready to act in whatever circumstance does transpire. I mean, we do live in days of adversity, so it is good to be ready for any sort of change, and it's always good to be listening for God's voice, and always bending God's ear with a little bit of prayer.
Oh yes, definitely, definitely.
So
Well,
what we got on the topic list?
you know what? Let me, with my short attention span, let me go. Okay. Oh, so the title of the show is Criminal Minds, Christmas Tree, and Other Topics. So that's the thing for our show tonight. Um, so top, it's up. So this man in New
up
York.
until,
Oh,
up
go
until
ahead.
just recently, I never knew what Tannenbaum meant. So I looked it up, and
Oh,
it's a city in a state somewhere in the United States somewhere. I can't quite remember right now. And I got real frustrated, and I says, well, what is the definition of a Tannenbaum? So I finally got it, man. And I guess it's German for Christmas tree, eh?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know. I heard that word too before, but I didn't associate putting those two together.
Yeah, so
So,
that's one of the topics for tonight. What do you guys think about Christmas trees? They got these new phenomena called upside down Christmas trees. I'd never heard of them, but
upside down. 'Cause-
yeah,
yeah.
these are weird. These are kind of in the realm of the Mandela effect, but because a lot of people, oh yeah, they've been around forever, and a lot of people are like, what? Never seen them. That's kind of
Hmm.
what the Mandela effect is all about, where a lot of people remember a totally different timeline than what truly happened at or so on and so forth. Some people
Hmm.
even go so far as to believe that there are 48 states instead of 50 states, or something
Okay.
just in the Orion arm of the galaxy versus the Sagittarian arm of the galaxy, and all kinds of crazy fun stuff. So it gets down a big, big, big rabbit hole with Christmas trees. What do you
Hmm.
got about them?
Well, yeah, I was watching the Wayne Dupree show. Now, sort of like in the background because I was working on some other stuff while I was uh, at the radio station today, and I heard the story about, and somehow they were laughing about it, and I didn't get the gist of was it because well, I didn't really get the gist the gist of it, but what I did get was some guy, and I'm kind of picture this. They climbed up a Christmas tree, and I guess from the top down, uh, torched it, and I guess he jumped off and tried to get away, but I guess you could see the flames up, and so the security guards were able to say, "I think something's happening over there," and they were able to tackle the guy, and he's in custody. But I was just thinking, like, with the don't charge any bail money, will this guy be out within less than 24 hours, or is this a serious enough crime where they said no bail is set at a high level and is set so he cannot get out and do it again? But yeah, he caught the Christmas tree in front of the Fox studio, TV studio in New York, on fire, and I heard it was a big tree.
It's a very, very interesting story. Some interesting times that we live in. This type of stuff happens on a daily basis, and somehow this stuff is just normal now. This stuff used to make front page news 20 years ago, and it's just another happening in another city, in another day, in another year. And it's a very interesting time that we live in, folks. That's why it's easy to get discouraged, but it's also just as easy to keep the faith and keep the joy, because
Hmm.
we're almost ready. Talk about this test that you were talking about earlier, our lives being a sort of proving grounds. Can we
Hmm.
get done? Can we make it? Can we do with what we have with the time that we're allotted? And sometimes we can, sometimes we don't, and other times, well, it remains to be seen. But the bottom line is, we affect a lot of people, and the reason why we're here is to stay here and to stand and to keep doing our thing and to keep rolling forward and to keep moving, not ever, ever give up or yield or surrender or bend or break or any of that stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, and I was just thinking, um, what was I just thinking? Yeah, I was thinking so many things. I lost track of what the main thing I was thinking about. Uh, I was just thinking about uh, when you get as you get older, you get a little bit more experience, and you've seen certain things happen again and again, and then you learn how not just react to life, but have life, life. Okay, let's see. How do I put it? Don't have life do you, but you do life.
Right?
And if you're always in that mode of like, oh my God, and not in the mode of like, okay, this happened before. I don't have to panic about it. I can, it's almost like football players trying to be football, you start learning this maneuver, and it becomes like second nature. And I was just thinking like that, that's sort of like what life is. If you live long enough, you learn. You've seen this before, and don't get overly excited because it's happened before, right? And then you learn what to do during that time to survive, and you get through it, and then you move on to the next challenge. And I think, what it was it makes you stronger and stronger as you go on. And I was watching this documentary, and this is not on topic, but they were going to different places to talk to people that were the oldest people in the country, United States and outside. They were talking to people that were like 113 years old, 106, around that age limit. Right?
A lot of honey and vinegar, and a lot of turmeric, and
yeah. And they were talking about some, and they couldn't pin it down to like, was it food? Was it this? Good sleep. This one guy, he eats like 6 oranges, but he lives in a tropical type of area. 6 oranges a day. Some pork, tortillas, beans, rice, just very simple food, but not a lot of food.
Right.
And then he still works in his garden and stuff like that. And so you have somebody like that lived all these years. And this one guy, he was a doctor, and he stopped practicing at the age of 94. And then you have this other guy that he said, he had to stop driving, but his son, he just asked his son if he can go somewhere. And the son is there within, 5 to 10 minutes, and takes him wherever he wants to go. So it was interesting to see, these people as they got into the twilight years, being social, being active, and that's the main part, is staying socially active and not, just becoming a hermit.
That's absolutely right, and that's going to hold true in our young people's society just as much as where it does now in our folks in the elderly community, because of the masks, because of all the social stuff that's happened over the last 2 or 3 years. We're just going to have to keep a handle on it, and with this new metaverse, where they're going to basically come out with this thing that you could just, through virtual reality, jack into certain things, do virtual jobs, make money. Man, it's going to be a real rocket ride. They're even selling virtual real estate nowadays.
And talking about something that's futuristic, would you be willing to take the chip that will have all your medical information, will have all your banking information, and all you have to do is whether, I don't know whether the chip is going to be in your forehead or it's going to be in your hand, just get whatever you want from the store and just wave your hand, and if you have enough money in your account, it just takes the money out and you're on your way. And then I guess that'll put cashiers out of work for the most part. So there'll be no need for cashiers.
Yeah, paper money will go away. We'll have a cashless society, and it will be electronic. So it is kind of interesting how the underpinnings for all this is being set up, and all the folks back in the day that were concerned about the way that things were going, why they end up being right after all. Why in Sweden right now they're rolling that out. So
I heard they took a group of maybe 300 people, or maybe a little bit more, and so they've been testing out this technology, and so I don't know. It's like because we read the Old Testament, and he talked about this the mark of the beast, and I kept thinking well, how are they going to get us? And I guess we are more sheep than what I realized. The Bible describes us as being sheep and stuff like that. And I guess a lot of us are more sheep than the shepherd kind of thing, where And we just saw the big example when they shut down the country, and we just stayed at home. We said, forget about. We're not really forget. Business inside. Forget about it. But it's like, what can I do? But stay at home. So we saw like how we were herded like sheep during the last whatever that thing was what they were trying to promote. So we shall see if that's gonna happen. Now this is huh?
We have a chihuahua to do it with. You want a chihuahua? Hey, do you want a chihuahua? Hi, puppy. Oh, sorry. My dog just kind of came and freaked out on me here. So I had to get him on camera for a second. If I did this.
Now, see, let's get we'll go a little bit into President Biden or President Brandon wanting to we talked a little bit about that. Like they want to depend the others people borders, and Beijing is saying, you prime ministers and presidents, you better come to our Olympics. Oh no, they said we didn't want you presidents and other prime ministers to come to the Olympics. We just wanted the athletes. And then Biden said, well, we're not going to go. But was that already in the making that they said we didn't want you guys here anyway? For the February Olympics. And remember, like Jimmy Carter back in the day, he stopped the athletes from going to theirs, and they had to train, and so that window of time was gone. And a lot of those athletes were very upset. So now we're doing the reverse. It's another Jimmy Carter moment, but now, like I said, when history repeats itself and you lived a long time, we did it one way in the 70s. We prevented our athletes from going. Now we're saying, go athletes, but we won't send any of our officials there to represent.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah, you live long enough, you see these things rotate back again.
Yeah, everything goes full circle. What goes around comes around.
Speaking of what goes around, you ever heard of Abbott and Costello?
I have.
Oh, man. These guys, I was listening to a program, 1948, they were doing a comedy sketch. So funny. People, if you ever had a chance, go see, go look up Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein, I think it is. Funny movie. Now they did a whole string of movies, like they meet, they go to Africa, but not as funny. But this one, yeah, the humor is right on. So I don't. It just popped in my mind because I was listening to it, and I still haven't finished listening to the rest of it. But very funny guys, and the writers, because they had writers write their monologue, and one guy had to be the straight, one guy had to be the one that delivered the punchline. But if you never heard of Abbott and Costello, very family friendly stuff, and
mind friendly stuff as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell what was going on if you were blind. You can kind of get the gags. It was I was one of a kind. I'll tell you that. I did like those guys. They're
And so it was wonderful. I got that Abbott. Was it Costello? Who's the heavy set guy? The Abbott Costello? Yeah, Costello. They this lady, she was a partner to Frankenstein or Dr. Frankenstein, and they needed a brain to put in the monster, right? And so they needed to find somebody dumb and docile and not violent because the brain the monster had in now was kind of violent, right?
Yeah.
And so she was pretending that she was in love with Costello, but she was really in love with the brain of Costello. She wanted to remove it to put it into this big monster. But just very funny humor. It's very funny. So if you need something to get you away from all this other silliness, find some fun silliness, right? Oh, but anyway, I just had to throw that in because uh, they were doing Christmas shows, and we got to think of some Christmas stuff to do before the week of Christmas. Wish you will.
That'll be fun. Maybe we'll get some recording artists and things like that. I don't know what I'd love to figure out how we can Zoom a concert. That'd be interesting to do virtual concerts. I see some of these artists and stuff, and they're coming out with these virtual concerts, and it'd be kind of interesting because technology exists to do it. So I don't know.
Yeah. It's weird, and I saw it done. It's like I said. Well, you have to have a PC in order to because a USB hookup to get the sound very clean and stuff like that. So I've seen it done, and it is possible. And yeah, I mean, we will do it. One way or another, we will do it. And then also, I was just thinking like, okay, you heard like this summer they were saying defund the police, and I remember in one of these states that the governor, he was on stage with these black girls and says, "What what we want? Say that you'll get rid of the police." And he couldn't say it because it was so stupid. And she says, "Get off the stage! Get off the stage! You won't say." And I'm thinking, now in California, they're finding out this is so crazy. See if you go to like a rich high-end store, you shop for yourself, you get your stuff, you jump in your fancy car, your chauffeur-driven car, you drive back home, then you guys decide to have a party, and then criminals with guns and masks bust into your house, rob everybody in the house, take all the presents that you got from those high-end stores, and they leave.
My gosh.
What do you do as a I don't know how gated households are in Malibu, California, or Beverly Hills, California. I don't think there was any gates there. It's just big houses, and I guess they had policemen patrol every once in a while. But
I would imagine they've got security of some type, but once that breaks down, I mean, there's links in the chain that have to be followed in order to keep anything secure, whether it be any kind of neighborhood, poor or urban neighborhood, or these suburban neighborhoods where the gated communities are, where there is security. I mean, once we start taking those parameters down, start defunding police, or our morals out of the society, and start taking prayer out of schools, or prayer out of anything. Doesn't matter, just take it out. Then we get what we get. We don't throw a fit. We just deal with it. We just through it because we've got to occupy until his return. It's one of the things that we've got to do.
And so is this unusual? I mean, I guess you and me, we just don't have a mind like that. I'm thinking like, okay, you're gonna case somebody's house, see them going out with stuff, and so you really got to be aware. And even if you are aware, where you can't become paranoid, saying like, when that person's looking at me, they be me casing my house, and then I guess now you have to. You can't live that carefree life, especially if you worked hard and you got something, or maybe you didn't work hard, but you just worked crooked. And we're gonna talk about the Hillary and Bill Clinton Foundation, how the money is drying up now that they're not in power. But anyway, but anyway, this is not on our topic, but this just popped in my mind. You heard that their foundation, money-wise, is drying up.
No, Crimea River. Let me tell you.
Yeah, yes, it's like they can't offer anything to these high-powered players about access in the White House. So now the donation, and I heard that the donations were developed in the 1913, 14, just for them to funnel money and say, okay, it can't be taxed, and they sort of wanted it for, churches, but they sort of, on the second hand, they wanted it for governmental funneling tax-free money.
Well, nothing is new under the sun, and there's not really any new way to acquire money in a correct manner.
Yeah, so a lot of things are going on that's just pretty much just wild. And I heard, and I don't know about it. Okay, what do you think about this? Someone says, okay, the big plan is to invoke the 25 on Brandon. Then when Harris steps up, she'll say, well, the same day we're gonna get Hillary Clinton and Obama, what's her name, Michelle Obama, to be like second in command. And they're gonna run in 2024 and they're gonna save the day. And I'm thinking, like, if people didn't like Hillary in 2016, what's gonna make her more likable 4 years from now? Oh man.
Media will have advanced in 8 years or so from the 2016 election. By 2024, things will be different than the psyche was back in 2016. So it's possible. Generationally speaking, things change within an 8 to 10 time span. So
hold on, let me find out something. Let me ask something. How old is Hillary Clinton? Okay, well, she's 74, so she'll be 78. And I don't know, she wasn't in that good of a health back in 2016. So I don't know.
I've lost a few friends, and they were not in any way, shape, or form as in bad a health. So, and they were young. So you just know when your time comes up, your time comes up.
All right, and I'm going to see how old is Bill Clinton, because he's looking awfully bad. Bad. How old is Bill Clinton? Well, he's only 1 year older, but he's aging a lot faster than she is now. I'm thinking, like, well,
If I was Hillary, I might age a little fast too. I don't know.
Well, oh man, I love it when you can just grab, if I don't know something. We were back in the old days, you had to go to several books in the library and pull it out and just like flip.
Yeah, man, especially for blind people, that was a lot of fun because they didn't have the information readily available. You had to really dig for it.
Yes. Well, hey, ladies, once again, another 30 minutes went by, and I know I didn't have some of the topics. I had the main topics there, but sometimes other things flow into my head and Alan's head, and then we go off into.
Then we go off the rails. I just can't help it. See us tomorrow.
We may or may not say tomorrow. We gotta. They have a Christmas kind of get together at the IKEA, and so we're gonna go get our tickets. So hopefully I'll be back in time. But if not, then I'll let you know.
Next week. Wait, what day is it? Wow.
Where is it?
I can't believe tomorrow. So if we don't see you tomorrow, we'll see you next week.
All right. God bless, man.